Small gaps, big consequences. This week, ransomware crews pivot to a fresh Citrix flaw. A fake Mac utility steals passwords. Developer toolchains get impersonated, and a new actor sets sights on government and power networks. Welcome to your operational cybersecurity briefing. The through line is consistent. Patching remains relentless. Ransomware pressure hasn't eased, and supply chain and third-party dependencies continue to amplify exposure. Let's get straight to the cases defenders should factor into monitoring and response. First, ransomware groups turn to Citrix Bleed 2, BYOVD, and supply chain credentials. Actors associated with the Anubis ransomware operation have been observed exploiting Citrix Bleed 2, tracked as CVE-2025-5777, for initial access. Affiliates vary in style but show common tradecraft: use of legitimate remote management and monitoring tools, credential access, and hands-on keyboard lateral movement. Reporting also notes bring your own vulnerable driver tactics and use of stolen third-party credentials in supply chains. This matters because it blends speed, stealth, and legitimacy. Trusted tools and trusted credentials reduce noise and widen blast radius, while a fresh edge exploit compresses dwell time. Defender takeaway: prioritize mitigations and monitoring for CVE 2025-5777 on exposed Citrix appliances. Hunt for anomalous RMM usage and new admin accounts. Enable vulnerable driver block lists, and review downstream access paths, especially partner and vendor credentials, for misuse and overprivilege. Second, a pattern of weak spots emerges: AI compute hijacking, an Apple email flaw, Blue Hammer ransomware, and more. This week's cluster of issues share a theme: systems behaving as designed until small permission gaps, weak checks, or open defaults are prodded. Examples span browsers, bots, sandboxes, AI infrastructure abused for compute theft, and email flows with subtle validation gaps, alongside a ransomware strain dubbed Blue Hammer. It matters because operational failure often comes not from a single catastrophic bug, but from a chain of permissive defaults and overlooked assumptions that adversaries can test rapidly. Defender takeaway: tighten defaults and boundaries, enforce least privilege and strong egress controls, restrict service-to-service trust, harden AI workloads against unauthorized job submission, and audit email authentication and filtering paths. Treat "it's allowed to do that" as a risk signal, not reassurance. Third, PamStealer uses fake Maccy sites and PAM checks to steal Mac login passwords. Researchers identified a new macOS information stealer distributed as a compiled AppleScript file that impersonates Maccy, a legitimate open-source clipboard manager. The malware, dubbed PamStealer, employs clever techniques, including checks against pluggable authentication modules, to capture Mac login credentials and exfiltrate sensitive data, with the lure of a familiar utility to lower user skepticism. This matters because macOS environments in mixed fleets often have looser application control, and AppleScript-based payloads can masquerade as productivity tools to bypass user caution. Defender takeaway: restrict script execution and automate notarization and developer ID enforcement. Deploy application allow listing for macOS, and require users to download utilities only from vetted sources. Hunt for rogue Maccy lookalikes, unexpected .scpt executions, and recent credential prompts outside normal workflows. If exposure is suspected, rotate affected passwords and tokens immediately. Fourth, armored Likho targets government agencies and the electric power sector with the BusySnake stealer. A previously undocumented threat actor, armored Likho, has been linked to operations against organizations across Russia, Brazil, and Kazakhstan. The group blends financially motivated campaigns aimed at individuals with targeted cyber espionage against institutions, using a stealer tool known as BusySnake. This matters because mixed motivation actors can pivot between crimeware and espionage tradecraft, complicating detection and intent assessment, and the electric power sector's operational technology and corporate IT interfaces expand the attack surface. Defender takeaway: segment IT and OT networks strictly, apply role-based access to sensitive data, and monitor for stealer activity and exfiltration from jump hosts and shared endpoints. For entities with regional exposure or cross-border operations, increase threat hunting for new data theft tooling and tighten third-party access into high-value environments. Fifth, North Korea-linked npm packages mimic rollup-polyfills to steal developer secrets. Malicious packages, rollup-packages-polyfill-core, and rollup-runtime-polyfill-core impersonate legitimate rollup-polyfill tooling, closely mirroring the real project's description and repository metadata to gain trust. The goal is remote access and data theft, likely including developer secrets. This matters because compromise at the package level can grant adversaries access to build systems, credentials, and downstream applications, turning one developer's install into organization-wide exposure. Defender takeaway: block typo squatting by using private registries and approved mirrors. Pin and verify dependencies, and gate external package updates through review. Scan CI/CD for unexpected network calls during build. Inventory environments for the two named packages. Remove them if found, and rotate any tokens or keys that may have been exposed. Across these stories, the rhythm is clear. Assume abuse of legitimate tools, and treat third-party trust as a controllable variable, not a given. If today's briefing helped you prioritize actions, subscribe and share this with your team. Stay ready, and I'll see you in the next update.